But in order for us to understand how to go forward, we need to look back just a little bit, okay? And I would argue that lab is only half the problem, okay? So a lot of you here probably been in the industry far longer than me, okay? So do you guys remember what happened in 2008 besides the financial crisis? Okay? De Beers stopped using the tagline "A diamond is forever." Okay? Now, seemingly who cares, correct? It's just a line. 9 years before that, Advertising Age magazine called "A diamond is forever" a tagline of the century, of the 20th century. Okay? So I guess it wasn't a small deal. So in 2008, that tagline goes away, and effectively the entire marketing for all natural diamonds goes away with it, right? Because De Beers is no longer a dominant player that they once were. They don't have a large market share. So guess what they're doing? We're not going to advertise for everybody now. We're just going to advertise for those people who are going to take our brand, which is Forevermark. So they do that, right? And X number of retailers obviously take Forevermark. And those retailers do continue to advertise natural diamonds because they have to, right? Because it's part of the Forevermark contract and there is matching, so on and so forth. What did the rest of us do? Nothing, right? So let me just construct this again backwards. The greatest marketing campaign of the 20th century went away and we did nothing and we expected things to continue the way it is. When you have lab-grown diamonds entering the markets, and frankly, I was there first time pure-grown diamonds exhibited at CBG in 2013. This is literally 5-6 years after. Most jewelers haven't even started adopting lab-grown diamonds for another 2 to 3 years later. You have a decade, right, where lab had nothing to do with it. Absolutely, unequivocally had nothing to do with it. But you know what you had? You had a product in and of itself, natural diamonds, that is a luxury product that doesn't have value. It only has value you build through marketing, right? That basically wasn't advertised at all. So yes, when lab came in, it made everything much, much, much easier, right? And then after that, with COVID and extra money and people who had money who then came in and started buying lab, you know how many people I talked to who told me in 22 and 23, oh, we're now doing lab, we're in lab now, we're ahead of the curve. I can't even see the curve anymore, and you're telling me in 21 you're ahead of the curve, right? Why? Because at that point there was no choice. There was enough money and people were buying it. So what I'm simply telling you is, natural diamonds in and of itself is not a problem, marketing is. So the solution to this problem is not it's not diamond based. It's not necessarily inventory based. It's first and foremost marketing based. We lost the message, right? Still today, if you look after that, how strong the marketing was, still half the transactions in loose diamond sector are natural. So it's not like we can't go back. It's not like we can't do it, but we now have to do it. And the truth is, you guys within your market, in a way, have to do it on your own. De Beers is not going to do it. They tried to do it last year, you know that, right? Signet and De Beers, and as every marriage of inconvenience, right? It basically lasted, what, 3 months? And no, I don't think anybody have ever seen that campaign. So it is something you'd have to do it locally. Is it possible? Yes. But there's a certain things that I think you should be aware of. And this is the first one. Your customers don't buy your product and services, okay? They don't buy your product and services. What do they buy? Transformation, emotion, hope, solution to a problem, or fitting in. Those are the 5 things you have to sell. Anywhere you go to look at any major company you know, those are the 5 things they buy. Look at the last one. Do you know who perfected that? Apple. That's your part of the group. Apple. Apple. Yep. Part of the group, right? That's what it is. What does Red Bull do? What does Red Bull do? Gives you wings, right? There's your transformation, right? Those are the things you have to sell them. It cannot be quantifiers, right? Every time I talk about this, I go back to one thing. Many, many moons ago, a gentleman in Wisconsin by the name of Richard Kessler wrote a letter to GIA, okay? And in that letter, he actually asked them a question. And the question he asked them was about jewelers using GIA as a brand. right? GIA certified diamonds. He posted a response in which GIA told him that we encourage jewelers not to do that. We are not a brand. We do not guarantee anything. And they went through point by point by point, literally telling him that we don't disagree with you, right? When you take quantifiers, color, clarity, weight, GIA, how easy it is to shop? Very, right? Can you buy a car? Sure. Can you buy an Ultima driving machine? No. So there is a very big difference, so we have to remember that. Person who said it best was this guy. It's a new COO of Ford. Car making is 100,000 logical decisions in search of one emotional one. Okay? So it's the same thing. BMW has a department that I believe works, you know when you open the car and you click and it makes that chirpy noise? They actually figure out what the chirpy noise needs to be. There is a department to do that. Okay? So there is a department to do other things. But when it makes it to your TV, what do they show you? A car making a tight turn, and guess what? Ultima driving machine. Right? How many guys drive Ford F-150? How many drive it for the practical reasons that they show it in the car when there is like wood, right, in the back and what have you? None of them. Maybe their moisturizer goes in the back, right? So the truth is, it's a symbol of something we're trying to attain. They appear to somebody's emotion. That's the thing, right, we have to remember. So, never logical. It's always about emotional, right? Because when you make it logical, consumers can't see a difference, right? If you tell me that a natural diamond and a lab-grown diamond optically, physically, chemically are identical, what are you telling me? They're the same. So they're the same, what's the difference? Price. The more logical you get, the more everything comes back to one thing, price. Are you cheaper than everyone else? The truth is never. And never not because the product in your store are priced expensive. Never because it's never apples to apples. How many times have somebody went to K's and said, well, your I1 and their I1 is cheaper? Yeah, because it's I4, right? But by that time, he's already bought it, and who cares? Right? So stop trying to convince him how many horsepower your car has, right? It's irrelevant, and they don't care.